Hello everybody and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am so excited to have you here with me today. If you are new here, welcome. If you are not new here, then welcome back. I am so excited to finally be delivering some Xero training to you guys. I swear I say this on every single video, but this is one of the most top requested videos I have ever had. I run a chartered accountancy practice, and within our business we do a lot of Xero training, and so I am so excited to be running you through the basics of Xero. You really can cover off like 80% of Xero, learning how to use it in less than half an hour, and that is exactly what I am here to deliver to you guys today. I'm so excited to be empowering you guys as business owners or maybe trainee accountants to take control of Xero and really get to grips with it. I am going to be covering off today the four main key aspects of Xero, and that is the dashboard, the business tab, the accounting tab, and the contacts tab. There are lots of other elements that you can add on into Xero, such as projects and payroll, but I'm not going to be covering them today. Today I'm just going to be talking about how you can cover 80% of the basics in Xero in less than half an hour. So let's go. So when we log into Xero, this is the screen that you guys will see, and welcome to your new happy place. This is your dashboard. So the dashboard in Xero really does what it says on the tin. This is your safe place. This is what you will see every time you log into Xero. My favorite bit about this dashboard is the fact that it is completely customizable for you, your business, your priorities, your key performance indicators for the business. And so the first thing that I'm going to do before we get overwhelmed with what any of these numbers mean, all of the different buttons on my screen, I'm just going to show you how you can actually edit your dashboard so that it can look exactly as you like it. So in the top right hand side, we've got a button that says edit dashboard. I'm going to click edit dashboard, and as you can see, it is so easy to customize and make it look exactly how you want it to look. Chef's kiss. Okay, so we can basically toggle on and off all of the different elements. So let's say, for example, like here in the demo company, I have one business bank account that I've got connected via bank feeds, so that's automatically pulling in transactions from my bank into the software. But I then have another savings account, which I used to use, but I don't use anymore. We can see that there's no transactions in there, and we can see that there's no bank feed connected. And I, as the business owner, know and understand that I actually don't need to see that bank account on a day-to-day basis. And so I'm just going to toggle it off, hit save, and then that bank account is no longer there. I'm going to go back into edit dashboard. So again, I can turn that back on if I didn't like the way it looked or I wanted it to come back. I can turn it back on. I've got a good understanding of my cash flow for the last month up here, but what I can see using this box is total cash in and total cash out month on month. And what you might like to do is put the month on month next to current month so that you can really compare exactly what they look like. Accounts watch list, this is my favorite. So as business owners, especially if you're a business that's growing and scaling, you might like some real key indicators on what's happening in certain expense codes at any given time. So things like advertising and marketing, sales. It might be that when you log into Xero, you want to have a watch list of certain accounts that are really key to you and the performance of your business at any given time. And so again, we can drag, drop, move everything to make it look exactly as we like it. And again, we've got invoices that are owed to us and invoices that we owe to other people. And so I've customized it, I've made it look exactly as I want it, and I'm just gonna hit save. So this is my customized dashboard. I absolutely love it. It just really keeps your finger on the pulse as a business owner, keeps you in touch with what's happening. Even if you've got a bookkeeper or an accountant keeping your transactions up to date, this dashboard is a really great way to keep your finger on the pulse and see what's happening in every part of your business very quickly, which is sometimes just what we need. And so that is the dashboard. The next really important part of your dashboard, and probably as a business owner, one of the most important parts of your accounting software, is your bank account. And so we have something on accounting software now called open banking, which means that your bank account can automatically be connected and synced to your accounting software. So that means that anything that happens in your bank account automatically happens within your accounting software. If you haven't yet got a bank account connected, I'll pop a link up here to another video that I have which explains how to connect your bank feed into Xero. But assuming that you've done that already, I'm just going to click reconcile. And so what this page is doing is pulling transactions from your bank into the software and breaking them down in a list for you. On the left hand side of your bank reconciliation screen, we have information that's being pulled through automatically from your bank into Xero. And on the right hand side of your screen, we've got what Xero thinks is happening. And so it's our job as business owners or as the people processing transactions for a business to tell Xero what each transaction is. For the purpose of the demo today, I'm going to assume that you are not a VAT registered business, just to keep things nice and simple. But if you are and you do want more assistance, you can actually use the links in the description to this video to either become a client or just book some time to have some training with us. So in order to tell Xero exactly what it is that you're doing, exactly what each payment was, we basically need to answer 3 questions: who, what, and why. And so I'm just going to take this transaction as an example for Smart Agency. So let's say they were a marketing agency for your business and you paid them £4,500 to do some marketing work for you. It's my job to then answer 3 questions. So who is Smart Agency? And they've already been set up as a customer, so I just select them. What is what were you paying for? So for me, that's advertising. Again, Xero is super intuitive, so I just type in the first 3 letters. It knows what I want and I can just select advertising and marketing. Now this bit is key, and this is the why, and so as much information here as possible. So it could be that Smart Agency ran a specific campaign for you, so agency to run and manage Xero campaign for me. As much information here as possible will save you so much time in the long run. So let's say that you didn't put that information in, you posted the transaction, and then at the end of the year, your accountant came back to you and said, you actually spent £4,500 with an agency this year. What was it for? What was the span of the project? Did you pay in installments, or did they bill you all in one go? As much information as possible should be put in this box to help you in the future. So I'm going to say agency to run and manage Xero campaign for me ran from the 1st of March 22 to the 31st of May 22, and again, dates are super important so that I as the accountant know what period that covers and whether or not I need to make any adjustments for me. And I'm just going to put invoice 1 out of 2, so again, my accountant knows exactly what needs to happen with that invoice. So Xero has pulled in that transaction automatically from my bank feed. I've then answered those 3 simple questions: who, what, and why, and I'm just gonna click OK. Again, we are ignoring VAT for now, so just bear that in mind on any transactions. And so that's how we process bank transactions on the bank reconciliation screen. So option 1 is if Xero doesn't know what that transaction is, we just answer those 3 key questions: who, what, and why. But you can also see up here that some transactions are green. And so Xero will make a transaction green where it has something on the left-hand side that it thinks it already knows the answer to. So let's just take this Ridgeway University as an example. So Xero knows that on the 7th of May, you were paid £6,187.50 from Ridgeway University. It also knows, because, and I'll show you how to do this in a minute, that you raised an invoice to Ridgeway University 3 days before that for the same amount. Ridgeway University also, when they paid you, put the invoice reference on the description, and Xero knows the invoice description matches that. And so Xero has said, hello, you got a bank receipt from Ridgeway University on this date for this amount. I can also see that you invoiced Ridgeway University on this date for this amount. Are you happy for me to match them off against each other and mark that invoice as paid? And if we're happy that that is what Xero thinks it is, we click OK. So again, let's say for Truxton Property Management, the exact same thing has happened. It's gone green. Xero thinks it knows what it is. We say OK. And so this is where, in my mind, you can really like gamify your bank transactions. And so when we started, I think we had 30 transactions or 29 transactions. We've now only got 26 left. And so in my head, I try and like challenge myself to like, can I get 10 done in 5 minutes or 10 done in 3 minutes if you're being really quick? And so my top tip is to actually gamify your bank rec, to just make it really fun, really engaging, really exciting. Don't forget that as a business owner, the more and more on top of your bank reconciliation you are, the easier it is, because you're only trying to remember transactions that have happened in the last week, for example, rather than this, trying to remember what's happened over the last couple of months, maybe 6 months, maybe even a year for some business owners. So keeping your bank reconciliation up to date not only keeps everything super nice and tidy, but it actually means that you are only having to look at a certain date range at any given time. So I just wanted to show you as well another example of how Xero actually uses AI to learn and remember transactions and then apply them in the future. So this is a super common type of category and type of transaction that Xero would learn and remember. So monthly transactions like bank fees, where you're paying a certain supplier on a certain day of the month a certain amount. So let's say that in April you paid Ridgeway Banking Corporation £15 for bank charges. It's now the 9th of May, and again, you're paying Ridgeway Banking Corporation £15 for bank charges. So Xero over here it hasn't gone green because it's not an exact match, and it's not something that you've already created in Xero. But Xero is actually saying, hello, last month when this happened, you told me that the who was Ridgeway Bank, the what was bank fees, and the why was a bank fee. I'm gonna auto-populate this, and so now you just need to click OK. So on the transactions where there's an OK, Xero is trying to learn, remember, and suggest things. And on the transactions where there's not an OK, you do just need to answer those 3 simple questions. But again, the more data that you put into Xero, the more and more it will learn and remember what is happening. And so if you're following this along with me and you do have some bank transactions that you need to post, you can pause this video now and actually just get caught up to date with your bank transactions before we move on to the next step. If you would just like to follow along with me, we can now move on to the next step. So that is our bank reconciliation. It's a super, super important part of our dashboard. And again, for you as a business owner, your main job is to keep your bank reconciliation as up to date as possible. So I'm now just going to move on to the business tab. And the business tab is basically where you can run your day-to-day business using Xero accounting software. It basically covers off invoices that you send to customers and invoices that you receive from suppliers to you. And so not only can we record details of sales invoices and purchase invoices, but then as we move on throughout the training today, you'll also see how you can use that information. We'll also see how you can use that information to keep a really, really close eye on what's happening in your business at any given time. So let me just show you really, really quickly sales invoices within Xero. So when you become a business owner, raising your first invoice is a super, super big deal. Not only is it a big deal because you're about to make money for the first time, it's also a really big deal because you want it to look very, very professional and very, very tidy. And so I'm gonna show you how to create a new invoice in Xero. So we're gonna kick off just by clicking the new invoice button. And again, as you will have seen so far in Xero, everything is very, very intuitive. So we're gonna go for Ridgeway University again, and I'm gonna put the date as today, the 17th of May 2022, and the due date section, I just love this part of Xero. So you can manually type or click the drop down menu and select a date, or you can just put +7 +30 and it will automatically calculate how many days and the due date of that based on the amount of days payment terms you would like. So I'm going to put this due date as +7 days. Invoice numbers are automatically scheduled, and you can actually go into the settings tab to set the invoice structure. So if you don't want it to start from 0, if it's your first invoice, you want to start from 100 so that people don't know it's your first invoice, or if you just want to change the the template structure, using the settings tab, you can actually change that if you would like to, but I'm just going to leave mine for now as invoice 46. With the reference, again, it could be that your customer has given you a purchase order number to use, and so you want to reference that, or you're working with them on a specific project. Again, if you work in the trades, for example, you might want to put the address of the house that you're working at. You could do that as well. And so I'm just going to put a brief description of the work that we did for Ridgeway University, so consultancy services on the 15th and 16th of May 2022, and that's 2 days. I'm going to do 2 days at £500 per day, and I'm going to code it to sales. Again, we are ignoring VAT for this purpose. And so what I can do in here is, if I've put all of my details into Xero and I want to just see what it looks like before I hit approve, I can click the preview button and it will show me exactly what it looks like. So as you can see, we've got our invoice set up really lovely. Again, from a behind the scenes perspective, you can go into the settings tab and just super quickly actually just import your logo into the system. As you can see here, it's demo. So you can just import your logo here. You can change all of the wording that we've got down here. So your address, your bank details, your payment terms. We actually, within our business, we offer referral discount. And so we actually have details on every invoice detailing out. Don't forget that if you refer a friend, like this is exactly how that works. Again, if you are VAT registered, this also does count as a VAT invoice. It has your VAT number and a VAT breakdown down here. And so before you hit approve, you can just preview exactly what that looks like, not only on the invoice, but also if somebody's looking at it on a phone. So you can just check that all of your formatting looks correct and that you are happy with the invoice before you click approve. Again, if you are doing lots of sales invoices all in one go, so let's say you run a consultancy business, you do work for 4 days of the week and admin on 1 day of the week, it could be that you want to raise multiple sales invoices in one go. And so rather than just click approve, you might want to click approve and do a next one, or approve and add another, or approve and print the invoice. But for this purpose, I'm just going to click approve. So then once I've hit approve, Xero now knows that there is an invoice on the system for Ridgeway University, and now I've got a couple of different options. I can email my invoice direct to the client, and I can actually copy myself into that email so I get a copy. Again, you can untick and tick the box to include it as an attachment versus a link. I can select whether or not I'm happy to receive a copy of the invoice, and lots of different options. So I can email it direct from Xero. I can also preview it again. I can print it. I can do attachments. So again, let's say that you were a contractor and you did a piece of work at somebody's property. You actually just wanted to upload a photo of the finished product onto the system so that you actually have a personal record of, for each job, you've got a record of every single item that you've completed. So those are all of the different ways that you can actually use sales invoices within Xero. Again, you can also quote and raise quotes from Xero. And so again, let's go with the tradesman example. So let's say that we got a quote. So let's do Mrs. Smith. She's a new contact. We've never spoken to her before. And I only want my quote to be valid for 7 days. I'm going to put a reference as her address, so Tesky Street, and I'm just going to put a description in here. So quote for work as discussed, it's going to cost you £2,000. I don't know what I'm doing, but it sounds very expensive and exciting. And so this is my quote. I could put in here as per our discussion, or subject to change if the sort of scope of the work changes, but for now I'm just going to leave it quite blank, and I'm actually going to send my quote off to my customer. And so again, we can use quick parts and lots of lovely templates with our logo on to send it to the client. I would definitely recommend that if this is your first time using Xero, anytime that you are testing quotes or testing sales invoices, send them to yourself. Like, set yourself up as a little test client, send everything to yourself so that you actually understand what your client journey looks like through Xero. So I'm just gonna put test@test.com, and I'm gonna send myself the quote. So that quote has gone off to Mrs. Smith, and she has looked at it and accepted it. I can now actually mark it as accepted, so Xero actually knows this was the quote, this has been accepted. I can then, to save myself copying everything over into an invoice, I can actually transfer all of the details that I've already quoted onto an invoice. So that is really how to run your sales function from Xero. You can quote, you can send proposals, you can raise sales invoices. All of the sales invoices can have your logo on. You can customize them completely down to your taste, down to your branding. You can also create templates within the invoicing section so that even when emails go out with your invoices on, they sound like you and they feel like they've come from your business. That is the sales function, and I'm just now going to show you how to process bills that you then get sent from other customers. So I'm just gonna say, for example, that I have been given an invoice for some workwear that I bought. Let's say I bought some branded hoodies from my client, hoodies Direct. I've never used them before, and so I'm going to add them as a new contact. They have 7-day payment terms, and the reference on the invoice is 170522. So I bought 5 hoodies with logo on. So it's going to be 5 lots of £15, and I'm going to code that too. So just to talk super quickly about the codes, these codes are exactly the same as in our bank reconciliation screen when we're answering the questions who, what and where. This is the what, so we need to tell Xero what we've bought. If you're posting a transaction that you've done lots and lots of times, you'll probably know the code. So if it was advertising like we did earlier, I can just type in advertising and it's already there. If I don't know what code I'd like to use, I can actually just scroll through the ones that have been set up already by Xero and take a look at exactly how I'd like to code it. And so I'm just going to code this to purchases for now. And so I've got hoodies with logo on. There was 5 of them. They cost £15 per hoodie. I've coded them to purchases. And so what I can also do is actually upload a copy of the invoice. It's worth saying that you don't have to attach a copy of every single invoice to every single transaction. However, it is really, really good practice, and it can save you a lot of time in the future. For example, when your accountant is preparing your accounts, it can save us asking you lots of questions like what was this for, or do you know what dates it covered, or we might have lots of specific questions. Also, from your perspective, if you were ever investigated by HMRC, it can really, really help you to not have to do loads of digging around, not have to keep that shoebox of receipts. Actually, if you're uploading everything onto Xero, it can save you loads of time in the future. So this is where I would actually upload a copy of my invoice, and then I would hit approve. So we now know that when we go back to our bank reconciliation screen and that payment to this supplier comes in, it will go green and Xero will say, hello, I know you spent some money with Hoodies Direct. I can now see that you've paid Hoodies Direct. Would you like to match them off against each other? And we say yes. So we've covered off your dashboard, how to customize it, how to complete your bank reconciliation. We've covered how to send sales invoices to customers and how to process purchase invoices from suppliers. I'm going to run through how you can run some different reports within Xero to really get a good idea of where your business is at and where your business is coming from. But before I do, I just want to tell you something super, super important. So any reports that you run within Xero, Xero can only report on what you have already told it. So the 25 items that are currently outstanding in your bank reconciliation will not be included in any of the reports that you run because you haven't answered those 3 important questions for Xero: who, what, and why. So if you're following this process in an order and you want to start doing weekly and monthly processing and reporting, the order should be bank reconciliation first, reports second. Any reports that you run while you've got outstanding transactions will not be included and they will be omitted from the report. So I just wanted to cover that off super quickly. So one of the best reports that you can run within Xero is your profit and loss report. So your profit and loss report within Xero is going to pull together details of all of your income and all of your expenditure for a specific date range. And so you can set up your reports to defaults to a specific date range. So I've got mine set up for this financial year to date. And so what Xero is doing is pulling together for the 22-23 tax year or financial year, what's my total sales, what's my total purchases, and then what are my overheads. There's lots and lots of different ways that you can customize reports, you can customize nominal codes. Honestly, it really is endless, but today I'm just going to be talking about how you can cover off 80% of Xero in less than half an hour. So I'm just going to stick with template reports for now. So as a business owner, the profit and loss report is probably one of the most pivotal to your business. So the profit and loss report is reporting on income and expenditure that has happened during a specific date range. We have turnover or total sales at the top. We then have cost of sales, and when we deduct our cost of sales, so the total that you have to spend in order to generate your income, that then gives us our gross profit margins, and then past that we have got our overheads. So overheads are costs within your business that don't immediately relate to generating a sale, so you don't have to spend money to make that money, but they do relate to the overall running costs of your business. And when we deduct our overheads from our gross profit, we actually get our net operating profit. As a business owner, one of the most important things that you should know is that it is your net operating profit that you pay tax on. And so if you are planning and saving for tax, it's this number that you should be using to calculate how and when to plan and save for corporation tax. I'm just going to put a little link up here to a video that I created called How to Plan and Save for Tax. And so if you wanted to follow this video, then follow through onto that video. That will teach you all about how to plan and save for not only corporation tax, but self-assessment taxes too. So this is your profit and loss report. The next super important report that you can get from Xero is your balance sheet. So whilst the profit and loss report covers income and expenses for a specific period, your balance sheet actually covers assets and liabilities for a specific period. So these are more permanent aspects of your business. They're not things that just report to one specific financial year. Assets and liabilities generally span over a 12-month period. So this is the balance sheet at the 31st of March 2022. And so we're looking at assets and liabilities. So we've got fixed assets like computer equipment and laptops. We've got bank accounts. We've got people who owe us money, people that we owe money to. And so a balance sheet can really give us an indication of the people that owe you money, the people that you owe money to, and the assets and liabilities of the business. So for you as a business owner, this report is super important to not just look at a profit and loss of where you're at right now, but also to use the balance sheet to look forward. So how much money can you take from the business? Is my balance sheet positive or negative? So do I have spare capital and reserves that I could withdraw, or am I actually overdrawn on capital and reserves? The balance sheet is really the hub of the business, that's the heartbeat, and the profit and the loss is the things that are happening to it right now. So there's just a couple more of super helpful reports that you can run from Xero. So I just wanted to cover off the age payables and the age receivables, and so I'll show you age receivables and you can give age payables a go on your own. So age receivables is basically a report that you can run to show who owes you money at any given time. And so Ridgeway University, this is the invoice that we just raised together. And so I've told Xero, hey, I've raised a sales invoice to this person, and in the bank rec screen, I haven't actually showed it that it's been paid yet. And so Xero is telling me, hey, Ridgeway University owe you £1,000. Along with all of these other customers, the total outstanding is actually £17,500. And so for you as a business owner, if you can see that you've raised lots of sales, but your cash flow doesn't look too great, this is where you need to be looking to figure out why and actually to do some credit control. So just call your customers, chat to your customers, send statements to your customers using Xero in 2 or 3 clicks to just chase some money in and see exactly what's going on. You can run exactly the same report called Age Payables to show the suppliers that you actually owe money and need to make payments to as well. So we have covered off the dashboard tab, the business tab, the bank reconciliation screen, the accounting tab, which shows you those super helpful reports. And so the next and final part of Xero I want to show you is the contacts tab. So when we click contacts, it actually comes up with all contacts, customers or suppliers. So if you wanted to just do some credit control and you only wanted to show you customers, you can just get it to show you customers. Or if you'd like to see all of your contacts, you can select all contacts and it will come up with everybody. And so it does this really super useful thing. On the right hand side, it shows how much money you owe them, and it also shows how much money they owe you, which I just find so invaluable. If ever you do see this red logo on the contact screen, it actually means that a payment is overdue and it does require urgent attention, either from your customer or from you. So let's go to this client, Boom FM, and let's say I just saw on my age receivables report that they owed me some money. And so the first thing that I want to do before I chase my customer and ruin that relationship is just check that everything is up to date and that they do actually owe me some money. And so yeah, it looks like they do owe me some money. It's not quite overdue yet, but I want to give them a little nudge. I can just click options here and send statements. And so what's going to happen is Xero is going to show me, hey, this is what your customer is going to see. Are you happy with that? I can change the date range. So if I actually want to go back as far as January to just give them an idea of how we got to that balance. And then I'm also just going to change the date to today's date so that it actually includes the overdue balance. So you can see the balance due. You can see how it started in the year at 0 and then moved down to having a balance outstanding. And I can just either print to PDF or I can do it by email. I'm just going to email the customer a copy of their statement from me, and I'm just going to put their email address in and click send. So what I've just done is I've gone into Xero, done some bookkeeping, I've run some reports, I know exactly where I'm at. I've then run an age receivables report to see who owes me money, and I've then, within literally 3 clicks, chased my customer for the money. That is a start to finish view of exactly how you as a business owner can use Xero to plan and save for tax, make plans for your business, understand where you're at, where you're going, to set targets, to set reports. Xero really can do so much more than this, but I really just wanted to create a resource for you to have a whistle-stop tour to really just overview exactly what's happening in Xero and how you can use it to navigate, run, and actually scale your business super, super quickly. So I just wanted to say thank you so much for spending some time with me today. Please let me know in the comments how you go on. But I really, really hope I have been able to show you in less than half an hour how you can cover off 80% of what Xero has to offer. If you would actually like to get in touch to receive some training from us, to maybe become a client, I would absolutely love to hear from you. You can use the links in the description to this video to book a meeting with me to become a client. If you like this video, please do give it a thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button if you'd like to get a notification every time I release a juicy video like this one, and I hope to see you again very soon.